Okay, most people, when they do a job and they leave, they move on and continue on with their life. But that's not what you're doing. You want the job again. Why are you doing this?
City's in trouble. I disagree with Bloomberg on term limits. Inspired by what Obama is doing in bringing progressive change to Washington. And I love being public advocate and doing public service. And Dominic, if you can stay being a moderator on Wise Guys and the Inside City Hall races, and if Chuck Schumer can stay as senator, Derek Jeter can stay as shortstop, why can't I try to do what I love, at least, and I'll let the voters make that judgment this fall.
Okay. But now, you know, those in the political world say Mark Green is really doing this as a stepping stone to become mayor of New York City.
False. I'm completely focused on running for public advocate. Dominic, I had to pass two tests with myself and my family. One, did I have a fire in the belly to serve again? Two, could I win? I detected that I had a furnace in the belly. I loved having the public authority to go after HMOs that weren't delivering health care, tobacco companies that were addicting our children, abusive cops, hurting the reputation of all the other honorable cops. And when I was in a position to say it and cure it, I think I did well with it. So given that history, I'm aiming to be public advocate, and I'm not running for mayor. And it's a 4-year term, so I'm not saying, you know, what I'll do after. I'm not running for 2 terms just yet. No one ever does that. But I know the job, I've done the job, and so anybody can speculate about motives, but just vote for me or against me because my rationale is my record.
But doesn't this position you quite well to run for mayor?
It positions me very well to run for president, actually, and so that's my long-term goal. You see, I'm making fun of people who speculate, and they can speculate about motives and goals all they want. You see, if someone speculates about ulterior motives, they have to acknowledge, well, did Mark Green look like he enjoyed being public advocate? Did he love public service? Did he do well at it? Those, I think, allow me, because I'm not unbiased, are the relevant questions. And so if people may make up criticisms of me, and I don't have to make them up, there are plenty of things to criticize me for, but I don't think anybody can credibly say that I was a disinterested or ineffective public advocate for 8 years with Giuliani, which I think is a barometer, not the only, but a barometer of how I do it again. So I have rivals, all of whom are smart and qualified to be public advocate, I regret to say, but they'll have to say, here's what they promised to do. I have performance, not just promise.
Okay, I'll come back to mayor in 1 second. You just mentioned the other possible candidates in this race. Bill de Blasio, Eric Joyer, Norman Siegel. But by you putting your hat into the fray, by you deciding to run for public advocate again, aren't you really saying, Mr. Green, that they really can't do the job as well as you can?
Yes. Remember, I just said, and I say in every forum, those three are absolutely qualified by intellect and experience to be the public advocate. I could see that title in front of any of their names. I, of course, wouldn't run and subject myself to a candidacy with, you're always perched between adulation and humiliation in a campaign. You never know. I wouldn't do it if I didn't think that I would be a better public advocate, but fortunately, I don't get to pick. Voters get to make that judgment. So people who are interested in politics and tactics, that's fine. Ultimately, voters are the cohort who say yes or no.
Let's just say 4 years, you're elected public advocate, and 4 years from now, you decide to run for mayor. I believe that would put you at age 67. Wouldn't that make you too old to be the mayor of New York City?
Well, if the question is 67 too old, the answer is 67, Dominic, is the new 66. Really, it's just a completely different concept. I've met old people who are extremely energetic. I've met young people, Michael J. Fox in the TV show, who are very old-fashioned and old hat. It goes to your record, your ideas, your energy, and so age, of course, alone is not a disqualification, nor is youth, to quote Walter Mondale when he was running again. But listen, people have seen me as a public official, and some people, not enough, have seen me on Wise Guys, and they can make a judgment whether I'm too enfeebled to run, or whether I have the right energy, ideas, and experience, because the ideas part is very key. I have never been in a job where I didn't have a passion for new ideas to old problems, whether I was a young public interest lawyer, to when I was a consumer commissioner, to when I was the public advocate. And so I wanted to tear down the walls between City Hall and the public, so I proposed an idea in 2001. I called it 311. To his credit, Mike Bloomberg did it. I was the first public official to have a website, nyc.gov. I then, Dominic, gave it to Mayor Giuliani. It is now the portal for people to come into city government through. And I wanted to make sure I wasn't just a bureaucrat answering the mail and issuing press releases. So I went to each of the 59 community boards, one by one, had a town meeting so I could learn as I tried to govern, so I could understand what every community wanted by going there. That's the kind of transparency and energy I brought to it before, and I think I would again.
Okay, but as far as the mayor's race, why not just say one way or the other whether or not 4 years from now you're interested in running?
It'd be wrong. You see, when people press Senator Obama or Governor Bill Clinton in 1990, will you promise never to run for a higher office? First, they said they wouldn't, and then they did. So politicians can't always be taken at face value. Second, it is wrong to say to Congressman McMahon in Staten Island, do you promise never to run for Senate or president? Not that he's thinking of it. Everybody should rise to the level that the public thinks they can best serve. So I'm not speculating yes or no about any office after public advocate. And I'll tell you, should I be honored to win because the public has invested, again, their trust in me? And should I serve 8 years? So I would have served 16 years as your public advocate and then 3 years as the consumer commissioner. I'm sorry, I'd be very proud of that history and record depending on how I perform. So I'm running on the assumption I hope to win. I hope a Democrat wins. I'll be for Avella or Thompson, whoever is the nominee, so I could serve with the Democrat, which would foreclose any opportunity to seek higher office.
Have you, before we take this commercial break, have you been bored in private life?
No, not at all. I've been a businessman in the last 2 years. I've been president of Air America Radio. I took it out of Chapter 11, got it back on its feet. We're on 60 affiliates and XM. I wrote a book originally with John Podesta. Then Senator Obama picked him to run the transition, and the book was for the next Democratic president. And I'm told by them that President Obama is reading parts of it, doing my TV commentary. So I loved it. I love public service more. And Tiger Woods would probably be a good baseball player. And I'm no Tiger Woods. But he's doing what he loves, and I hope voters willing that I can continue to do that.
On that note, it is time for a break. We'll have much more tonight with Mark Green when we return, and later the results of our Snap poll questions. Stay with us.